Last night, I put myself through a guided qhht past life regression. Hey, what's going on, my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor, and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening process. So this video is me more so sharing my story of something that happened to me just last night, a profound healing experience with this past life regression technique, which, if you don't know, was developed by a woman named Dolores Cannon. If you don't know her, she's actually very cool. I highly recommend looking her up. Real hip lady, man. And she performed and perfected this qhht past life regression technique over the course of multiple decades, probably 3 or 4 decades. She traveled the world, and then to have taken thousands of people through this particular trademarked modality with just mind-blowing effects of deep healing. It can cure phobias and even physical ailments. It can help your whole life make sense. It can illuminate your life purpose. You can speak directly to your higher self. Take that for what it's worth. But it's a very, very profound modality that I've been involved with for many years. I'm a practitioner myself, actually. And anyway, last night I was struggling and I put myself through this experience, and it was just so amazing. I wanted to share what happened to me last night just so you can kind of get an idea of what this modality can do for you if it's something you want to potentially seek out at some point. So I hope you enjoy the video, my friends. Great to have you here. So last night I found myself in incredible anguish. I found myself just really suffering. Now, my life is fine. It's mostly internal. I have a couple of challenges, you could say, in my life, as we always do. But last night I was struggling to cope, and I found myself in this the best way I could put it was this incredible anguish. And I just couldn't relax. It was like nighttime. We had just put my kids to bed, and I was hanging out with my wife, Patty, and she was practicing her guitar. Normally at that point I would read and meditate. I couldn't do it. I couldn't relax. I couldn't have fun. And I found myself just getting so worked up for no reason. So to spare my wife of my anguish, I decided to come right here into my office and do a little Kundalini yoga. And as I was coming through that door right there, and you can't see it, but I was coming through this door, and this thought streamed through my mind. And the thought was, I'm going to warn you, it's a bit disturbing. It was, I hate myself. And for some reason, I was like, I caught it. I caught that thought. I noticed it. Now I questioned it. I was like, why? Why would you say that about yourself? I know you're not having the greatest evening, but why would I say I hate myself? And I realized that thought was like the perfect description of my anguish. It's like a self-imposed, self-destructive mode I go into when I'm challenged, and finally it was kind of verbalized in my head anyway. And I also realized it's not the first time I've had that thought. It's not the first time I've had that attitude towards myself. And I was starting to realize this attitude, this self-destructive sort of mode, this function in my consciousness has really been causing a lot of problems in my life throughout my entire life. And last night I found myself again with a sufficient amount of awareness to catch it. And so I decided let's get to the bottom of it. Where is this coming from? Why do I do this to myself? And that's when I decided to lay down right there on that yoga mat, which I still have not put away from last night, and do like an impromptu past life regression. I've had a past life regression probably 5 or 6 years ago. I woke up one day with this strong intuition to have it done. I didn't know much about them. I just had this sort of intuition that it was going to really be very helpful to me. And it was so helpful to me. In fact, so helpful that years later, I became a qhht practitioner myself. And I've taken thousands of people through group qhht sessions because I'm just such a fan of the modality. But anyway, I'm a practitioner, so I'm able to kind of just put myself through it whenever I need to. And it's super easy. It's like really, it's not as difficult to get into this altered state as I thought it would be. Anyway, I laid there on my mat, no music, nothing. I just went in and kind of went through this trademarked visualization involving a cloud and things like that. And I went through it and I was brought back to what seemed like a past life. It was like, basically I looked like myself, but it was a different time. I had more hair. And it was this unmistakable and eerie almost vision of myself. And it was a vision of myself in absolute, just gut-wrenching torment. And I know what it represented because I've gone into this same lifetime many times before, and I've been working through it. And without getting into the gory details, in this particular past life that has haunted me ever since, at least as far as I can tell, based on my current perception and understanding, I had children, and through some type of lapse of judgment, they died. And it was my fault, or I believed it was my fault at the time. I think it was actually my fault, unfortunately. And I think it was because I was like too concerned with myself. Like I was just obsessed with myself and my image at that time in my life, in that past life. And because I was like so in my head, there was like an accident with fire. And anyway, I've gone into this painful, unresolved energy within myself multiple times through somatic release breath work, through ayahuasca many times. And the first time it became illuminated was years ago during a past life regression. But anyway, so this last night in particular was more so about how I coped or how I didn't cope with it after it. It's not like it happened and I resolved it in that last time. Come to find, last night, what I discovered is that I suffered immensely and I would just punish myself. I go into these I hate myself, self-destructive modes because I believe I deserve it because of what I have done. And I just saw myself I can't even explain it. It's this sort of like disturbing vision I can even go to right now in my head of just seeing myself and how I was treating myself. You can even see with my hand, I keep doing this. It's like a representation of I have never forgiven myself for it. And last night, even though like what had happened, in seeing myself go through that, I felt bad for this other version of myself. I felt horrible. I was like, man, you are just torturing yourself. Why are you? And I realized like, well, how does somebody forgive themselves for that? And I was like praying, like, how do I forgive them? How do I forgive myself for this? I didn't have the answer. I didn't know. So I just kind of laid there for a time, just sort of present with it. And then I realized that no one can do that for me. I have to be the one to forgive myself. So I tried as best I could. I just started saying in my head, I forgive you. You suffered enough. You need to let this go. I just started almost giving myself a pep talk last night to my past life self. I was like coaching them and saying, you gotta let this go. You gotta forgive yourself. And as I just was present with it, I don't know if it was my conscious attempt to forgive myself or merely shedding the light of awareness on this situation. And this happens to me most of the time when I do a past life regression on myself. I felt what I would best describe as a stale, old energy. Almost like a stale, fear-like, just dense energy. I felt it dissipate out of my body. And that to me is like a sign that I'm getting somewhere. It happens a lot of times when I do these past life regressions for myself. I feel this energy leaving my system. And as it leaves, I feel free. I feel like it is freeing myself from the chains of these past lives. And when I finally came out of it, I just felt really good, man. I felt it's not perfectly healed. I'm not gonna pretend it just cured it, but I made some tremendous headway. And now I feel like I'm finally making progress on this thing that has been haunting me my entire life. Literally sabotaging. I sabotage myself, and I've been doing it since I was a little kid. My parents didn't even understand it. They would feel bad sending me to my room because they said I would punish myself so badly in any little mistake. But anyway, I share this because it's just so profound and so helpful. And in case some of you had never heard of this, now you've heard of it. It's a qhht, past life regression. You can look it up, find them in your local area. I sometimes even do them virtually. I haven't done them in a while. I probably will be doing one soon. I'll leave information down below if you want to check that out and be informed for my next live qhht past life regression, where I take a group of people through this on Zoom, and you can have this kind of experience if you feel called. And if not, now just maybe some seeds are planted as a potential healing modality for you. Take it for what it's worth, my friends. Hope you have an amazing day. Hope you enjoyed the story, and I'll be in touch. Peace.